Hi, I'm Maggie,
Hi, I'm Grace, and this is
a very bookish podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of a Very Bookish podcast. Today, Grace and I are going to be introducing ourselves. And since I lost the rock, paper, scissors battle, I guess I will have to be the one who goes first. My name is Maggie. I am 19 years old, and I am from Dallas, Texas, but I'm currently living in Kansas City, Kansas. I am from the Midwest. My favorite book is Air of Fire. And my favorite series is Throne of Glass and Saba Tahir's and Ember in the Ashes. Right on over to you, Grace.
oh my gosh. Here we go. Hi guys, I'm Grace. I am from Los Angeles, California. I am 24 years old. Sheesh, I don't know what my favorite series is at the moment. My favorite book is From Blood and Ash. I guess that's my favorite series as well. Also, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and a few others, but I just have too many to count. I know, The Night Circus is like really one of my favorite books. It's literally what got me back into reading.
I have a couple, 20 pages left. So, but yes, so today we're just going to be introducing ourselves. You're going to learn how we met each other, what we're doing right now, projects we might have in the future, some sneak peeks on project we're doing now. But so I guess we'll just kind of start off with our how we met, which is kind of awkward, I think.
It really is. Well, how about we go before we met? Let's start beginning. What was our intro into book talk?
Yes, that's
I think that's like a good way to start. So you want to go first?
Okay, yeah. So I'll go first.
How did you begin?
I was like going on thrift books and I was like, ooh, this looks like an interesting series, Throne of Glass. I'm just going to buy it. It was like $10 and I was like, great. Got it, sat down, read it until like 3 a.m. in the morning, cried my eyes out, went to sleep, went to my library the next day and got a whole series, read it all in a week, and then just started redoing my obsession with books, and I've bought a majority of these books in quarantine. Actually, all these books you see up here I bought in quarantine.
Yeah, that's a lot. Too much. I don't even want to show all the ones that I have. But yeah. And then your book talk account was actually like Star Wars fan base,
Oh
right?
my gosh. So at the beginning of quarantine, I was reading, but I wasn't on book talk. I was on like cosplay talk. So I was seeing some like Sarah J. Maas cosplays, but I was doing a lot of like saber tutorials, and I did like makeup in like the fall of 2019, and then beginning of what's it called, quarantine, I was reading a lot, but then I was also doing a lot of like lightsaber tutorials with a broom. That's how I was doing my lightsaber tutorial. So if you scroll back, you'll see a broom that I'm using until you see that I finally got my lightsabers. They're actually not with me. They're on campus right now. So for those listening to audio, I have a dual saber, like red, kind of like Darth Maul lightsabers. But yeah, so that's how my account started. And then I think June, like I hit June and I kind of like became like an official like book talk. That's when I changed my name. And then I started creating a lot of Sarah J. Maas content because that's like what I had just read and I was in love. Aelin Galathynius is my heart and soul. I relate to her the most. Rowan Whitethorn Galathynius is my husband. I'm sorry, Aelin, but I have taken him. He is named Rowan Whitethorn Karpenko now. My name is Margaret Karpenko Whitethorn. Thank you. That's what I only go by, Miss Whitethorn now. But so Grace, how did you start out your TikTok journey?
So, as people do with quarantine, everybody started downloading TikTok, and I got my TikTok, and I stumbled across a lot of like small businesses and sticker making companies, teaching, like expanding and being like, oh, on TikTok you can like really blow up and have a lot of sales. And at the time I had just started my sticker business, and I was kind of doing that with TikTok, but I really didn't know how to use it. And then one of the first ever book talk creators that stumbled on my page around May or March, end of March, was Kate's books. And I saw her recommending all of these books, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I haven't read a book in 6 years. It had been 6 years since I had ever picked up a book. So I was just like, oh gosh, like, well, I don't know what else to do right now because I had sped through TV shows and I was over it. I'm like, I need something else. I need to stop watching TV. So then after seeing all her book recs really early on in her account, I decided to pick up, I saw The Night Circus in Target and I was just like, I'll pick that up and I'll read it. Fell in love with everything about that book. It just like really sucked me in. And then based off of Kate's Rex, I got ACOTAR and I read that one. I literally read it and then I bought the next one literally as I was like in the last few chapters of the last of ACOTAR. Then I brought ACOMAF, ACOWAR, and then Court of Frost and Starlight. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, what now? And then I'm just like, what am I gonna do? And then I was just like, you know what? I'm not even paying attention to this TikTok. I need to make a book talk. And I had joined her Discord book club, Bookington Book Club. And everybody was like, oh, just make a book talk. So I made one and I started reading the Grisha trilogy. And then I got my first, the Bookish box, subscription box, which have been my ride or dies since day one. And it kind of took off from there. And I have purchased maybe 90 books in the past 6 months, 5 months, 90 books in the past 6 months, or gifted, both of them. And I
Not even gonna count.
now yeah, it's too many to count. And now I have book prints and I have 3 book subscription boxes now, and I have so many shelves. I think if you scroll through my page, you can probably see where I had to expand each shelf, and a new shelf video is coming soon, so we'll look out for that. And yeah, now here I am.
Okay, so that's kind of like our journey of like the beginning of book talk,
Yeah.
where you started out like as like a book talk, whereas I started out as this like congealed of like makeup, Star Wars, and then I kind of faded into my book talk. But so I guess we can talk about how we met each other then, because we met each other through book talk.
We did. And I think it was because I did my unboxing video of my first Bookish box, which was the June box. And it was around that time you reached out.
Oh, I'm scrolling through. I'm going to scroll through and we're going to
see.
We're going to go through our first messages.
We're going to read their messages.
Oh my gosh. I think
messages.
I think I asked you about like a cosplay or something. I think that's what I asked you. Cause like,
yeah, you got your Lou wig. That's around the time that you got your Lou wig. So you asked me like, should I get this wig? And I'm just like, well, it depends on what you're going to use. Yeah, because now we talk to each other like every day.
It's like every hour.
It was something like that. You literally, it was like, are you, like, should I get this wig? I was thinking about getting a cosplay wig, but should I get it or not?
Oh, yeah. So I said, hey, girl, I know we don't know each other, but I have a quick question. Should I do a full send and buy a wig for cosplays? I'm hoping to do them on here. Grace goes, hey, Maggie, what cosplays? And I go, I'm thinking about Manon and other queen cosplays, but like, I need K if I should. I just need someone to tell me to say, fuck it and do it. And you were like, LOL, then yes. And I was like, great, thanks. And you're like, of course, anytime. And I was like, have you read Seasons of Storm? And you're like, no, I got it in my June box. Yeah. And so that's what started. And then like, I started messaging you on there, but then I was like, I need to like talk to her, like not on TikTok DMs. And so,
because then we added each other on Instagram. And then you saw that I was doing the profile pics.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were just like, oh my gosh, they're so good. And then I was just like, yeah, you know, like I just decided. And she's like, and then you asked me if I could make you one. And I was just like, oh yeah, for sure. And then like I made it for you. And you kind of got like mad at me because you're just like, why aren't you charging people for this? I was just like, I know, but it's just, I wanted to do it for
I paid you
people. Like,
$10
I didn't
for
really
it.
care. You did. You did. And it was like literally one of the best ones that I had done because your hair during that video, that picture, like, it looked so good how it came out. And then you asked me for my Snap and my number, but then you never texted me. You only snapped me. And then we were talking on Snap for like days and months.
Yeah.
And then we were reading Serpent and Dove, and we both loved it. And we're just like, oh my gosh, Blood and Honey's coming out. We need to do like read it together. And
Yeah.
we're like, what if we do a read along?
Yeah, that's how our book club started. Was our read along, because like I
Literally.
was like I don't want to be that awkward person who like asks for her number right away, and I don't want her to think like I'm hitting on her or something. So I was like, I'll just like ask for like her Instagram, and then like I'll slowly integrate in, because you're like one of my best friends, so I didn't want you to make you feel awkward. So I was like, I'm just gonna go easy with this. And then like we just started talking so much, and then I was kind of like, okay, well, I don't use Snapchat much, so I guess I'll ask for her number. And so then I did ask for your number, and then look where we're at now. We're starting a podcast, writing a book, and have a book club together.
We literally branched out so much from it. It was crazy. We when we started our book club, we didn't think that many people would join.
No.
We both made our video on the Blood and Honey read along, and that was like a little while ago, 3-4 months ago,
I'll look on
I
Instagram. I'm
think.
pretty sure it was in like August we did it.
Probably because we've done Blood and Honey, Wrath in the Dawn, Fable, 3 months.
Blood and Honey we posted on September 1st. We posted our read along message. Like,
Oh, that's right.
holy
Yeah, so then we
cow.
did that. That's a long while ago. And so we read Blood and Honey in our book club, and we ran that together, and it's still going incredibly strong. So now it's not a read along group. Now it's an official book club group.
A very bookish
A book
group.
club group. Yep, a very bookish group, as we are keeping the name going with all of our things.
Staying on brand.
And oh yep, staying on brand. And now our book club, we talk to each other every day too about like everything. And that's
Yeah.
really great.
It's a really great group. It's a really good group of gals and guys. Just including everybody, because I don't know what they like to be called,
Most
but
of them, yeah.
she, they, him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They're
so
all like, I love them. They're so
so
awesome. Shout out to
it's
our book
yeah,
club group.
a very bookish group. But yeah, they're very sweet, and like I think that's one of the best outcomes for me for quarantine was meeting you and then starting our book group, because like I have friends and like I have my college friends, but like no friends to really like dive into books with and like discuss books like we do, because I feel like my college friends are like very into like college things, and I'm just like, I just want to read and like read certain books, and like I want to be able to talk to people about these books, and especially characters like me and you from Blood and Ash and Kate, like we all like are FBAA stands, and like we love it, and we send each other memes from the Facebook group chat, and like it's just such a great community. And like even though like there is drama in the book talk community, I feel like the community that we've founded and like with our pages and like our Instagrams and our book club and stuff, like it's a really great community, and it makes you feel loved a little bit. I feel like
It really does. I just feel like they're awesome, and they just like really embrace you.
they do. Like when I met Kate, and then I like got Kate's Snapchat, because I made a Snapchat group, but then I asked Kate, I was like, Kate, I'm just texting you. I keep Snapchatting you. Can I just text you? Because I use text more. But they really, like, all of our, like, OG people are, like, even though we have new members, but, like, our OG group is, like, the classic, like, ones that I'm most comfortable with. To, like, I think I could go, like, I can definitely go to you and talk to you about stuff as I did today and, like, vent out my frustrations and stuff. Whereas, like, I'm not usually able to do that to people I don't know. I haven't spent months with. So it's the community is really great, and I really love that for a Very Bookish group and a Very Bookish podcast, because some of the
I
members will
know.
be on here.
Yeah, we're hopefully gonna drag them out here to guest star with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I think our whole journey, everyone's journey with quarantine and book reading has kind of stemmed off of like, not being able to do anything and kind of having life kind of shut down for a little bit, and then they dive right back in. And there's some people who have been reading and never stopped, but then book talk gave them the opportunity to like really find more people who love them. And the community has had some ups and downs, and it's a work in progress, which we all can understand, because I mean, we're human, we are all going to mess up. There's always room for development, there's always room to grow. But I think our group has definitely, we've created like a really welcoming space, and I really love that about us.
Yeah, and like not to be like but like we're all kind of damaged a little bit, so it kind of works. Like we all have our own problems.
I think a lot.
I think, but that's what I kind of like. That's what one of like my main takeaways from like this quarantine is starting this book is like this book club and starting a book talk is like the community that you like create and stuff. It's a very open and welcoming community, and then like they defend you to the core. As I've experienced today, your community will defend you to the core, and that's when you know you have a good community and we have good friends, especially when you're in the right. And you're just like,
You literally sent me that screenshot, and then like literally I like looked at it and I was like, nope. And I literally ran over to the comments and just jumped in. Like, no, that is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like literally we all did that. We were just like all up in arms as soon as we heard.
Yeah, because
like no, that's not it.
I just think that like there are those parts of the book talk community, I feel like more so because it is, or like I'm not on book Twitter, like book Twitter or whatever they call it. I'm not on that because I don't really use Twitter, but on book talk there are very toxic people who are on there who like to just start drama to start drama, and don't do research behind it. But I feel like a lot of people on there are very welcoming, and like even if you have different perspectives, some people, majority of people, I feel like to hear those different perspectives. Like I always send you like things about like the negative sides of like different characters and stuff, because I always think it's an interesting perspective to have, and I think that's what creates that's what makes this community so great, but also so bad at sometimes.
Yeah, and there's definitely that balance between people who are willing to learn and listen and accept and adapt, and then there's those people who like will dig their feet into the ground no matter how hard you pull at them. And it's kind of that balance between the two. But I've fallen in love with so many books and so many characters, and I find myself in every book that I read. And I think that that's what most people can find about these books. It's just like you can read a book and one person can have this beautiful connection with this character, with one specific character, and this other person can read the book and not really pay attention to that character at all, but find this completely other person who they connect with. And then you have so many different experiences tied into a book, and so many different people can grasp it and love it and make it part of themselves. And you can do it without hating each other, without getting mad for liking a book that you do not like. Like that's why in like literally all of my videos I always say, for me this is what it was. For me, this is why I liked it. My favorite books, because I liked them, it's because of me, not because of you. You don't have to like it, you don't have to read it, you don't have to obsess over it, because you are not me. You are not the experiences that made me. You are not my race, you are not my size, you are not my whole experiences growing up. You are not any of them, so you could not have the same experience reading this book as someone else. And I think people kind of forget that. Yes, you and I, we love From Blood and Ash, right? We do. We love it. And though we love it very much for multiple reasons, the experiences that you have that made you love those characters is different from the experiences that I have. though they may be similar because you and I literally are on the same frequency so often.
We are too
It's
similar.
crazy.
It's scary. When we want to do Netflix parties, we do Netflix
We'll
parties.
literally, oh my
Oh,
gosh.
it's scary. But yeah, I agree with you on, sorry to interrupt you, but
No, go.
I totally agree with you. Like, I think that, like, that's why I have a post coming out tomorrow, which after this it will be like out already, because it's will be posted Tuesday and this will go out Friday. But I have like there are so many books that I just have fallen in love with deeply, and because they hit me where it hurts. Like, they hit you in, like, some books, like, they're good and I like them, but they don't hit me where it hurts. Like Aurora Rising, Aurora Burning, Skyward, Starsight, like, amazing books, love them, but they don't hit me where it hurts. Now, Throne of Glass hit me where it hurts. From Blood and Ash hit me where it hurts. Six of Crows destroyed me. But, like, even Mary H.K. Choi, like, her Emergency Contact, it's more of a contemporary romance book. Even though, like, there are, like, I feel like there is this, like, disparity in the community, is like this idea of, like, having to be diverse, and, like, but I can relate to every single character because I feel like every single character leaves a piece of them in you, no matter what their background is, no matter what their ethnicity is, no matter what wealth they come from. I feel like every character leaves an imprint on you, but there are those characters that leave, I don't know what I was talking about originally, but I'm just going off on a tangent.
No, but I think you're kind of sticking around the same point of, like, every character is going to stick with you no matter what
Yeah.
type of book it is.
Yeah.
And you may not like the book for all of these other reasons, because the author doesn't have this, because the book doesn't have this, but you reading that book should be special. It's a whole journey.
Yeah.
You have a world in your palms.
I know what I was talking about.
You
Yeah.
go ahead. Go.
Okay,
Go.
I'm just gonna say it real quick before I was gonna say that the post I'm posting about is, like, I want to read these books for the first time again, because that first time of reading a book is so special. Like, I reread Throne of Glass all over again, but I will never experience it for that first time. And, like, yeah, I could, like, forget all about the book and, like, never think about it again and then revisit it, but I can't, because that's so special to my heart. But it's that, like, special thing that, like, reading a book for the first time will mean something different to every single person. Like, I cried for days after Kingdom of Ash, even though I was reading ACOTAR and all of these, and I know you prefer ACOTAR, but you haven't read Throne of Glass, so
I haven't.
I'm
getting to it. Little
are
by
you?
little. I'm chipping away at it. I promise I am.
But
no, I really do want to get through it, because, like, I see that what an effect it's had on you, and I kind of want to see what my experiences will be like reading the book. And when other people come to me and they tell me, "Oh, I'm reading ACOTAR for the first time," I literally, like, jump in, and I'm just like, if you need somebody to talk to about this book, talk to me, because I know there's so many people out there who will not want to listen about ACOTAR anymore. And that's fine. If you don't want to hear about it, that's great. You have every right to do so. But you cannot destroy this one person's first time reading a book. You cannot do that. You have to make them make that decision for themselves, what they have coming out of the book. You can tell them it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, it has bad rep here, it has bad rep there. The author doesn't do this, whatever. But you cannot distort their view on this book for the first time. So, like, one of my friends is on my Snapchat. She's finally reading ACOMAF this week, and I'm, like, telling her, like, how are you liking it? Do you feel this? Like, what part are you on? What do you like out of the book? What are some things that you don't like? And just letting her feel open enough to discuss it with me, so that she can enjoy the book to its fullest. Because I feel like everybody's first time reading a book should not be tainted by anybody's view outside. Like, it should be you and that book, and that's it. And then after you read the book, you come out of it with your own opinions, with your own views, and then you can go ahead and talk about it. But, like, let people read their book for the first time. Show them other books. Yes, of course, show them other books, but let them make the choice to read it. It's up to them.
yeah,
That's all.
I definitely feel like if somebody like came at me for reading ACOTAR, and like Sarah J. Maas has her problems, definitely does, lack of diversity, we all acknowledge that, but I'm acknowledging that and saying that she needs to do better. And like these books were written such a long time ago that she can't really change these books. So they are what they are, and like I acknowledge that they do have a lot of there's an immense lack of diversity in Throne of Glass, because you don't get to the diverse, like the people of color, until the second to last book. And I never really thought about it when I was reading it, but it was until, because I wanted to experience the book. And it was when after the book when I realized like this has some issues. There are some problems. But Rowan Whitethorn Karpenko is my husband. Like,
oh yeah,
like we've talked about this, like there's like, it feels like authors can never win. It's either they have no diversity or their diversity is wrong, or you can't write from this perspective because you don't have that experience. So, but like I feel like people should recognize that after they experience reading the book first. Like I feel like you can't have the preconceived notions that like, yes, this lacks diversity, but like that first read, I feel like for every single book is important to every single reader. Because like I'm like reading Night Circus, and like it's way different than when you first read it. When your experience is way different from mine. I'm just trying to get through it so I can talk to you about it, whereas you have this passion for it and love it, and I'm just here. It's been taking me weeks to get through this.
Yes, it's definitely not for everybody, but like that's exactly how it works. Like our experiences like differ so much, but that's what's beautiful about this community. You can experience so many different things and meet so many different people based off of one book, you know?
Yeah.
But speaking on like first time reading a book, what was the book that really really got you into reading like for the first time ever?
Oh, okay. So the book that got me into the reading, like the first time ever when I was younger, is like the spy school books for girls. It's like I would have to tell you, but then I would tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. I think it's something like that. I can look it up on Goodreads, but it's some kind of like spy school girl read, and I read like 6 of them when I was in middle school. I was reading them like crazy, and I think that's what got me into being a reader, was that. And like my reading has been off and on until after I got out of high school, and end of freshman year when I just but like I've always been the one to read like a book a day. Like I've always been that person where, so I feel bad when it takes me longer than a week to read a book, but you're different. You take longer because you enjoy the book. Your perspective of enjoying a book is way different than mine.
Oh yeah, because me, you'll speed through a book like that day, and me, I'll have to like an emotional scene will come up and I'll just have to put the book down and just kind of have to like revel in that feeling of like heartbreak and betrayal and just feel the anger, and then I'll be able to move on and like continue it, because I like the emotions that come up within books, and you just want to know what happens, and you need to feel the solution coming your way. And me, I like all the emotions. So yeah, that's true. While you're looking at that, the first book that got me into reading uh, was Twilight. Was Twilight. I got to me in middle school. Middle school, and it was right before the whole movie Twilight craze. And everybody was talking about it in school, and they were talking about like there's a movie gonna come out and all these things, and I was just like, let me try and pick it up. I never picked up a book ever for myself. Never. I hated reading. My dad went to USC. He was in English literature. He was always trying to push reading into me. I hated it. And I decided to finally pick up Twilight. I sped through that book, and I don't even know how long it took me, but then I finished reading in my room. And I remember finishing it, and I run out of my room into the living room, and I'm waving the book, and I'm like, I finished it, yelling at all of my family. And they just kind of like look up at me, and they're just like, okay. And I was just like, I'm gonna read the next one. And then I went on, I read read New Moon, read Eclipse, read Breaking Dawn, fell in love, had a whole vampire phase. Then I went to my werewolf phase. Then I went to my witches phase. And then high school came along. And then we read Hunger Games for my 9th grade reading assignment for our class. And then Dystopian Era came out, and that was during like Hunger Games, Divergent. What other book was at the time? Matched. A whole bunch of other books that were at that time. Weird time. Dystopian Era. And another book at that time that was kind of weird. Oh, The Fault in Our Stars 2. Oh my gosh, that whole phase. Ugh. And then I kind of stepped away from reading because high school happens, and and then I picked it up again after I was 18, and I read The Selection for the first time, and Throne of Glass for the first time. That's when I read Throne of Glass for the first time. I read Throne of Glass, and then like I read Crown of Midnight because I didn't know that it was a series. And then after Crown of Midnight, because I had been reading books back to back to back, I burnt out and I stopped after Crown of Midnight, which I'm glad I did. Because could you imagine me waiting every day? Like, oh my gosh, when is this next book going to come out? And so now that it's done, I can go back and like enjoy it and feel it.
Us with Crescent City. I'm waiting for the second book to come out. And also, like, Aurora Rising and Aurora Burning, waiting for the second book to come out. Brandon Sanderson still hasn't come out with his third book. I'm like, where are all my books at? Where are all my books at? I need them now. From Blood and Ash, the third book of
But
Craze.
that one, I'm happy that we don't have to wait that long for it, because like her books have been spilling out like so fast. But yeah, that was kind of my whole reading journey. And a lot of the books that came up on like Book Talk, I had already read during that like phase after high school. Like the whole Shatter Me series, Red Queen was just new at that time. I had read all of that too, and a few others. But it's crazy to me because like they were not popular at the time, and then I saw them all over Book Talk, and I'm just like, what? People like this book, and I loved it, and no one talks about it. And now it was really crazy for me. But yeah. Did you find the book?
Oh yes. So I'd tell you I love you, but then I'd have to kill you. So it's like I'll show it for the people who are listening on YouTube. This is what it looks like. It's like a schoolgirl outfit on the front, and then it's I'd tell you I'd love you, but then I'd have to kill you in typewriter font.
Honestly, I think I've seen that book around. I've never read it.
So I didn't finish the series, and I was so mad at myself. I'm still so mad at myself that I never finished the series, but I think I could reread the series because I've forgotten all about it, but I knew I loved it. I'd probably still love it.
Probably. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I could read Twilight again. It's not the same. But Midnight Sun came out, and I love that because it was very more mature.
It was my favorite.
The writing style was definitely, it was more mature. It made me love Bella a lot more because I just like understood her character a lot from his eyes, and I was just like, much better. And I loved him way better, but we'll save that chat for another time.
We'll do a Twilight. We'll do a vampires, werewolves, and galore. But yeah, no. That was definitely like I would read a lot of like royalty books, like Princess falls in love with like a guard or something. I read a lot of those books when I was like in middle school, high school. Because those are just always like fantasy are my fantasy. High fantasy, some contemporary romance, and sci-fi are like my main go-tos. But like that's how I got into it, was that series. And like I wasn't much of a reader beforehand, and then I stopped like when I was in Colorado. I lived there for like 1.5 years, and I didn't read much there because I didn't know where my public library was. But then I moved to Kansas, and my library is so close. I just started going when I first moved here. We lived in a hotel for a while, and then we moved into our house, and like our house was getting redone and stuff. So we lived in the basement for like 2 to 3 weeks, and I would like sit under my covers with like my phone flashlight on, plugged into the wall, reading a book, and I would read a book a day, and I would read so many books. throughout that time. And I wish I had record of the books that I read. That's something I wish I did when I was younger.
Same. So in high school I read a lot too because our teacher like encouraged a lot of reading, and so we would have like literally an hour cut out each day. I don't know if every school does that, but every day just to read, and we would have to do like these reading reports like weekly of like how many books we read or whatever. And so she had us log every book that we read, and I'm so happy I kept that because I can like dig back into my attic and look for that folder and see all the books that I read. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what trash was I reading? But then at the same time, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I read all of these books and some of them I still love. And that was kind of like tapering off of like the vampire phase too. And I read Blue Bloods. Have you ever read of that? Blue Bloods by
I've heard of
Melissa
it,
De La
but
Cruz. So it's a vampire story, but they're like, they don't live forever. They were reincarnated, and their blood has to be saved. And when they pass on, they have to be save their blood, and then they pass it on to the reincarnated body, so that it's them again. It's like their soul is traveled in their body. But then there's these things that are killing blue bloods and not letting that transfer happen. I don't remember much of it, but my teacher saw that I liked the series so much. I was like on the third or fourth book, and she bought me the graphic novel of the first one. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. And I still have it up there. I think I'm going to reread that series again because I need to see what happened.
I'll probably
with
reread it
that.
with you. I'll read it with you
Probably.
while you reread.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't really have like that big of a connection with my teachers because I moved twice in like 2 years. So like I never was able to like establish that connection with a teacher. And I always felt like I read like Anna Karenina. Let me grab it real quick. My AP Lit teacher, I kind of connected with her, but like she didn't really read like much of like, because I'm fantasy, like they didn't really talk to me much, but like I read Anna Karenina for school.
Big annotating books. It's like filled with tabs.
It's filled with tabs. If you're listening on audio, it's like I marked every chapter and then I marked every like so many little things. I had criticizes Russian government / society, anything to do with love, family, marriage, personality, literary elements, and then interesting things. So most of it is criticizing the Russian government. Well, most of it's blue. But yeah. That was kind of like the only book that I remember from high school reading besides like, yeah, this is the only high school book I remember reading.
What's a book that you reread like often, like that you have reread at least like 5 times or more? For me, it's Twilight. Somebody got me like a mass-produced copy, like the ones with like the movie cover, and that book was destroyed by how much I used to reread it. Like I used to carry that book around with me everywhere. But yeah, that one.
I don't reread a lot of books. I definitely have like one book that I have like kept for so long, which is Fallen.
I read that in high school and I never finished the series, so I
never finished it,
and I'm gonna see.
So I need to read like I need to reread, but yeah, it's like you could technically say Throne of Glass I reread a lot, but that's like a more modern one. But like I don't really reread a ton unless it's a series that I love. Like Aurora Rising, Aurora Burning, I'm definitely gonna reread that before it comes out. Skyward as well. ACOTAR definitely, but like those are like things you always reread. I definitely like I just need to read all the classics of YA first and then start branching off, but I have a feeling I'm gonna
I feel like a lot of us have to do we have to do a lot of catch up. I think that's what most of us are doing right now, catching up.
Yeah.
Same, honestly, though, because a lot. I have to catch up a lot, but that's fine. It's fine.
So If you had to take a book with you on a deserted island, and it's the only book you could take with you, and you had to reread it for the rest of your life, what book would it be?
Why would you ask me that?
It's
So
hard. It's hard, isn't it?
um, I want to say one, but I don't think that's what people want to hear. Um, Probably From Blood and Ash.
That was gonna be
Really?
This is how we know we're the same people. I was like, I looked over here and I saw it and I was like, oops, she's gonna say From Blood and Ash, isn't she? Oh my gosh, what
Literally
if
in front of me.
it's like right here? I like looked at it and I was like, no. But yes, I love From Blood and Ash. But I don't think I'm so attached to my books. Like you saw how attached I am to my books.
You literally packed up your books from college to bring home, and like the days that you were back at college, you were just like, gosh, I feel so empty. I feel like my soul is gone. And I'm like, girl, same. If I had lost any of my books, same. I'd feel like heartbroken.
My like Throne of Glass series, from Crown for Era Assassins, no, Era of Fire to Kingdom of Ash is all with my friend in Colorado, and I'm just like, they're missing. I can't reread about Rowan when I want to read about him because I marked every single page that he's in, or every single chapter he's in.
Cool. I feel like
Era
once I get
Fire
to him, I'm gonna
on.
love him. I feel like I am gonna love him. Okay, well that brings up another question. Your top 5 book boyfriends.
Okay, top 5 book boyfriends.
Book boyfriends and book girlfriends.
Okay, so Rowan, Whitethorn
Okay.
Karpenko,
Okay.
Asriel.
Yep, that's definitely yours.
Castile. I'm gonna
He's third.
He's third. I'd say Hudson from the Crave series, and then
I
I'd
have to read that
say Khalid from The Wrath of Man.
Yes.
You weren't thinking about him, were you? Oh, he's so good.
Dang it, that's hard now. Now that I gotta think about it.
So what are your top 5 bookish boyfriends?
Cassian.
Of course.
That's my husband. Castile. He's number 2. Because
Can't be Cassian.
He was the first one. Had I met Castile before, Castile would probably have been first. But Cassian has my heart. Khalid is oof. But do I have him there? I kind of do.
Oh, I forgot about an important one. Oh
Gosh.
those are my bookish boyfriends. I have bookish girlfriends, which are different. So
okay, we'll do another list for that. I don't think I have book girlfriends. Me looking at all my books to see, picking out which ones. Aaron Warner. Oh no, Khalid. Aaron Warner, because I love Warner. Warner.
I'm waiting to see what your last one is.
What should be the one that you're thinking of?
I'm not telling you until you say your last one to see if it's the one I'm gonna think about.
I don't want to say it now.
Just say it. Just say it. It's probably the same person I'm thinking.
No, I don't think it is.
Say it.
No, I don't know who it is. I don't know. I'm missing somebody.
First person who comes off your mind.
Right now? Maybe him, because I'm thinking about him.
Elias?
Maybe. It's either between him or Hunt.
Ooh.
No, not Hunt. I haven't seen enough of him yet. I like him, but not enough.
Lock in your final one, and then I'll tell you who
Dude,
I'm
I
thinking about.
can't. I can't.
Are you just gonna say Elias because it's right now?
No.
Temp placeholder.
I feel like I'm missing somebody. I'm missing somebody very important.
I know exactly
I
who
can't
it
believe
is,
this.
and I'm not gonna say it until you do.
Oops, excuse my language. Dang it. Who am I missing?
So maybe Gray, Ren.
No.
I'm thinking what books I've
I
read.
love them, but
Wes.
is it a book that you and I have read together? I love Wes, but no. Is it a book that we have read together? It has.
I just
It
locked
is.
my lips.
I don't know, Maggie.
Do you want me to tell you?
Now. Yeah, tell me.
Reed Diggory.
Oh gosh.
You forgot. I literally, after I had said Khalid was my last one, I was like, I forgot about Reed. And then I looked at my Blood and Ash book and I was like, I forgot about Reed. Or Blood and Ash, Blood and Honey. But Reed.
Dude, I love Reed too. But then I don't know, him and Elias are kind of tied right now. I know.
Ooh,
I know.
that's crazy.
And I haven't even really gotten much of Elias. I'm reading an Ember in the Ashes right now, and I'm kind of in love with him. I just like his brooding and his like, I need to do this. But then I'm also kind of mad at him because he's in between two of them, even though he clearly has a connection with one of them. But then longtime friends, the other side. I don't know. Don't give me that look, Maggie, because I'm just going to get very frustrated. And I feel like he's going to get bumped down to not even being top 5. So we'll see. We'll see how he goes. We'll see. Oh, what about Callias? Oh, you haven't read that book yet.
What book is that?
The Shadows Between Us.
Oh, it's up here. Right there.
Girl, read that book and you will fall in love with that man.
Okay, I will read it after I finish Half-Blood. I will read that and Cersei together because I got Cersei that I want to read.
Girl, because it's like you'll read that in like an hour,
Really?
2 hours probably. It's really thin.
I can probably finish it on Friday.
Next question.
Okay,
Probably.
we're speed rounding this because we've been gone almost 45 minutes now. I've been keeping a timer.
Yeah, because we were talking about all the other stuff.
Keeping it like on about an hour 30 to an hour, keeping it between there.
Yeah.
But okay, so if you could rewrite a book and put your input into the book, what would it be?
Night World.
The last book of Night World.
Okay, so let me explain the story with this. The Night World series is a series by L.J. Smith, who was the author of Vampire Diaries, who you probably know did the show on CW and a couple of other shows on CW as well. So L.J. Smith was big during like the vampire phase of YA literature. And she had this series called The Night World. And The Night World is basically, you can think about it like the Shadow World from the Shadowhunters series, where it has like witches, demons, and all these other creatures hidden from the eye of humans. And the Night World is basically made up of witches, vampires, shifters, other type of fairy type of things, all belonging to the Night World. And the one rule the Night World has is that humans cannot find out about them. And it's a series of 9 books, and they're kind of small. Series of 9 books, and each book follows a different story in the world. So the first book is Secret Vampires, between this guy and this girl who have been best friends since they were young, since they were kids. And then finds out that he's a vampire and she's dying of cancer, and he turns her into a vampire. So the vampires in this book, they can grow old and they stop aging once they reach maturity. They're called Limia. And so each book follows a different story. So some of them are of 3 witches. One is of a cousin of a vampire. One is a shapeshifter. All of these other books, and they're all leading up to this big finale in book 10. All of the stories are connected. You don't realize that they're connected until maybe book 7 or 8. And book 9 came out, right? With a sneak peek of book 10. And book 10 was never released. And it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years. So that is what I would redo. I would release book 10 and do it with like this end game type of ending, with all of them coming out, all of them kicking butt and beating whatever evil dark force was there. That's the one series that I will always want to rewrite, and maybe one day I will. We'll see. Hint, hint.
She's very passionate about it, as you can tell.
I am. I talk about it all the time.
For me, I think I would. Is it on my shelf? Is a good question. Oh yeah. So The Betrothed, because like I like most of the books, but The Betrothed by Kira Cass was not a good book, and I think it should have been done differently. And so I would probably rewrite that book. No hate to the author, because she did it how she wanted to do, but I personally did not enjoy how Hollis ended up. And so I would have changed her ending and things that happened to other main characters in the book. That's the one book that I would rewrite, because I love all my other books. So
I know. All the other books, like, even though like you're mad at the ending, you still kind of have to love them.
yeah, you do.
Yeah. Okay. There were a couple questions on our Instagram post.
Oh,
Did you get
yes.
those?
I have them right out. I have them right and ready for
Okay.
you. Okay, so the first one is from Nautical Reads, our friend Kate. She says, favorite children's book growing up.
Dang it. Ferdinand.
Ferdinand, what is that?
Ferdinand. You've never read Ferdinand?
No. I probably have. I don't remember. That's probably what
It's
it is.
about this bull who grows up. They made a movie on it. Terrible movie. Not what it was supposed to be. And it's just about Ferdinand and how all the other bulls would buff and fight and be bulls and always trying to fight each other, right? But not Ferdinand. He would sit on a hill and he would lay among the flowers just because he loved the smell. So he was a different type of bull. But then he was sold into a bullfighting ring in Spain, how they do. And instead of charging at the guy, he just sat near this flower that was growing in the ground and smelled the flower. And so Ferdinand was, even though he was like this big bull, he didn't want to be a bull. He wanted to just be himself and be kind and be happy. And my dad used to read that to us all the time. So that's my favorite children's book at the moment, I think. We'll see how it changes. Like, I'm going to read my children's book. But go ahead.
I would think mine was anything by Dr. Seuss. But Green Eggs and Ham was my favorite children's book. Oh yes, some I forgot about it now, but that was definitely my favorite children's book when I was a kid. I read that like all the time. We had Green Eggs and Ham Day at preschool, and everybody would dress up in green. We'd have green everything. It was the best. I loved it. So
my mom's favorite Dr. Seuss book is Yertle the Turtle.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
It really is. It really is. And Horton Hears a Who. I like those too.
That one's a good one.
Okay, go. Next question.
It's kind of speed rounding this. Other hobbies / interests besides reading.
Okay, I'll go. I am an aspiring graphic designer. I created our logo, if you guys didn't know, with Maggie's design input. And I make stickers. I sell Bookish stickers. If you guys want to check my link tree, I'll probably put it in the description below. What else do I do? I coach volleyball, basketball, and softball. And I play all 3 of those sports, and I am a swimmer. I think that's it.
Okay. So quickly about me, I'm really into business. I'm in business school right now. I'm an aspiring author, because that's technically not reading. And I did winter guard and color guard in high school. So that's like marching band, the people who wave the flags around. If anybody doesn't know what that is, I did color guard and winter guard. And that was very big passion for me when I moved here. I definitely found my purpose there. Okay, speed round. What 3 book characters would you most like to meet? I already know my 3.
Go. Because I went first on the boyfriends. Go.
Aelin Galathynius, Lou LeBlanc, and I would have to honestly choose Castile.
How did you know that? I was going to pick Castile. Yes.
I picked him first.
No, you can't just have him to yourself. Okay,
Who says?
Girl, no. I'll pick Castile.
Mm-hmm.
Fable.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
And I want to say Aaron Warner, but I feel like he would just hate me. So I'm not going to say him. Matthew.
Those are the 2 you'd...
No. I wouldn't want to meet Matthew. I would want to meet Matthew, but I wouldn't want to meet him.
Who's Matthew?
Both. Matthew de Clermont from Discovery of Witches. You have to read that book.
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe Marco.
Marco? Okay. Oh. Okay. So, a series or book that you will never forget.
ACOTAR. And The Wrath and the Dawn.
Yeah.
Because that one, like, yeah, I knew everybody always talked about it, but like, it kind of like really gripped me.
Right in the heart.
Like, it really got me. You literally,
Yeah.
like, I actually wanted to yeet that book so bad, but then I didn't.
Yeah.
I love it.
So for me, I think it would be Throne of Glass, always. Song of Achilles, that book will always be in my heart. That book was something so special. Like, I loved the book. It took me a while to read it because I didn't read it all in one day, but that ending crushed me for so long. It was worse than, no, it wasn't as bad as Kingdom of Ash, but it was bad. It was bad. And then I would also have to say, oh, Jinkies from Blood and Ash.
Yeah. I'm adding that to my list too. Because I
Blood
keep
and
looking at it. It's like staring at me. It's just like, come on, you know, that I left the mark.
Mhm.
And it did. It really did. But it kind of has to do with like my whole vampire phase. And I think that's why it shocked me, because it like threw me back into that.
Mhm.
And it did it so well. But honestly, like, geez, those books like really like hit you. I will not read Song of Achilles. I mean, you see what type of an emotional crier I am. Could you imagine me through that book?
You
I would
have
be
to.
dehydrated. I would be dehydrated because I would not have any tears left in my body. I cry over the littlest things. You see me on my Snap
That's
story.
true. Okay, next one. Any historical or classical wrecks? I already have 2 picked out. If I can go first, if you need time to think.
Yeah,
So
please.
first one is a classic, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. That's a very classic that I think everybody, not even just women, but men should read as well, because it definitely teaches anybody a life story and how to think differently about other people and not have prejudices against other people. The next one would be Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, because this is a classic, and I actually fairly enjoyed it. I think about repurchasing it because this is just sad. This is just a sad.
But it looks good.
State of being, but it's a good. Keira Knightley played Anna in the Netflix.
I know. The movie.
Yeah, it's a more artistic take on it, but it's what happens basically. So, the ending I hated though. But yeah, so those are my 2 classical historical wrecks: Jane Austen and Leo Tolstoy. For Marley,
I think Pride and Prejudice is definitely up there because I love it. And I haven't read this book though, but I think it will be when I read it. But it's kind of fantasy too, but it's not. The Outlander series.
I was gonna say that too. I was like, is she thinking about Outlander? Because I am too. I'm actually gonna get that for my mom for Christmas. I'm gonna get her the book.
Oh my gosh, I want to read it. I want to read it because I love the show. I did not know it was a book.
So good.
That's the problem. Oh my gosh, Jamie. Oh,
Jamie Fraser is, and he's like 20 years older than me. So, well, I was thinking about that. I was like, what year did you graduate from high school?
me?
Yeah.
Of course, me. Obviously, who's here? 20. Oh my gosh, it's been that long. 2014.
2014. I graduated in 2019. So like we're 5 years apart. And I just think about it, I was like, when you were in middle school, like when you were graduating, I was just starting 8th grade. Like the year you graduated, I like was starting 8th grade. Like ending
Oh my
8th grade.
gosh, you're such a baby. Like I never realized that what our age differences
It doesn't
were, but
feel,
like
I don't feel our age.
it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
I
That's how you
I
can
think
tell how much of a child I am.
I think I'm way
That's
mature.
not it.
I'm really mature for my age, I feel like. That's what everybody's
You
always
are.
told me.
We
Like,
meet in the middle. I think we're both
yeah,
we're like 21.
yeah. Well, I'm
I think
20.
that's
That's
our
only a
age.
year older than me.
Okay, well.
22. 22. We'll push it up a little bit.
Okay.
My birthday's not till February, technically, so it's okay.
Okay.
But I think
Um.
this was a great first podcast. I think we should end it here
Yeah, I think we
because
can
we've been
wrap
going
here.
for a while.
We'll go on for forever. We really
Um,
will.
so as we're signing off, I'll just let you know that my Instagram is at Books Galore with a Z, and then my TikTok is A Fictional Life. Grace?
My bookstagram is read.w.grace, and my TikTok is Grace Reads. Grace.reads. Gosh, I always forget the dot. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. I know we had like a little rant in the beginning, but then we got to some good points after, and I feel like
It's how it's always going to be with us. I mean, we always rant.
it really is.
So
We will. And we're really excited for this because we have so many projects that we want to kind of talk with you guys, and so many things that I feel like you can't really do with a 15-second video on TikTok. So it's going to be cool. And then we're going to have a bunch of guests.
yes, we have some guests lined up for this month and hopefully next month. So if you're reading this now, or listening or looking on YouTube, we are hoping to get at moongirlreads _ from TikTok, Celine. Hopefully she will be our next guest for next week. So we'll probably put out a post. She'll probably put up a post before we put this out saying that she will be our guest. So hopefully you put in a question for her. But yes, so don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to go to our Instagram where you can ask us questions whenever we post about a topic that we're going to discuss. And the Instagram is a Very Bookish Podcast, and then the same thing for our Twitter.
Yeah. We're going to make sure to link everything down below so you can find all of our handles there.
Yep.
And thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.